Hello, last vlog of Dry January. Welcome, my name's still Toby. I'm going to talk about 3 or 4 things that roughly go alphabetically. So A, B and C. And then the latter part of the vlog, I just want to say 1 or 2 slightly more personal things. So stay tuned for that if you are interested. I want to start with some amazing stuff that is happening inside our organisation. Just over the last few weeks, I've been listening to the progress that we've been making with lots and lots of staff from different professional groups involved in developing our rapid assessment diagnostic clinics for memory services in North Lincs. Now, you may remember that our clinical team of the year was the memory team in Rotherham, but this is our team here in North Lincs who have been faced with significant rises in the number of people referred for potential diagnosis. And in responding to that, there is remarkable work that's been going on since the turn of the year that has seen us cut waiting times, cut the number of people waiting by 1/3, and we are, cautiously optimistic of getting to that desired 4-week wait over the course of the next 10 or 12 weeks. We know we're going to need to invest to keep that going, and we will definitely do that because it just couldn't be, well, there are lots of important things in our organisation, in the care that we provide, but it must be right that we are rapid as possible and as clinically effective as we can be in getting someone to a point of diagnosis and support in a situation potentially of dementia or other diagnoses. So a massive thank you to everybody involved in that service. I was told it would take too long to name absolutely everybody, but I'm sure we will have the opportunity to thank people personally over the course of the next few weeks. And then my second in a similar space, also amazing, I think, is the work that's been done across all of our geographies in our child and adolescent mental health services, again, to move to a position where we're better able to offer people the certainty of how long they might wait. I met actually with our Doncaster team who wanted to talk to me about the experience of change. I really benefited from that conversation. I'll reflect a little on that at the end of this vlog. But to be very, very clear, where we are trying to move to that 4-week certainty, which is an RDaSH measure, it's not a national target, or if it is, I'm not aware that it is the certainty in an environment of profound uncertainty as a patient or a carer that we are looking to best manage. So I'm really grateful to people who are finding innovative ways of putting in place maybe different ways of working, either administratively or clinically, to respond to some of these ideas and some of these challenges. Now, I said it to go alphabetically, so B in this story is for our bank teams, our flexible workers. It's a little bit over 100 days since the Toby process was completed that brought NHS Professionals into partnership with our organisation. We've been meeting with the senior team there just to understand how things are going from their perspective, and I've listened to a lot of feedback internally. I think it's fantastic that well over 100 folk have now signed up who didn't Toby across, and the campaign to bring different professionals into the NHSP ranks is ongoing. If you're one of the hundreds of new joiners who've signed up to work for RDaSH over the last little while, maybe you want to consider whether you are also a flexible worker who wants to retain an NHSP contract. A lot of our conversation with NHS Professionals as a partnership was about how we could make sure the quality and safety standards that we want in our organisation over the next little while are well understood by those people who are working flexibly for NHSP. Remember, we're very, very anti the use of agency costs and agency work, but we're hugely positive about flexible working and bank working in our organisation. If you are struggling to get NHSP shifts filled, well, maybe you're part of the 13% of requests that go on at very, very short notice. Of course, some of those requests are unavoidable, maybe for reasons of sickness, but let's, as managers, really make sure we are looking ahead across our rosters 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks hence, because we're going to have the best chance of filling those shifts, and we want to fill those shifts if we're making those arrangements in good time. Lots of opportunity to develop that partnership as we move forward. Now, C is for climate change, and obviously I'm out by the Humber Bridge because we're holding our board meeting in Barton this week. But as we think about our response to changes in climate to climate crisis, I'm delighted that on the 12th of February we have our Climate Adaptation Day. There's a lot of focus nationally and internationally, isn't there, on carbon and on the work that we need to do in terms of global warming. But the reality is, it's my yet-to-be-born grandkids that will benefit from those changes. We already have baked in, see what I did there, into our world, the effects of things done in the century and a half before. So we know that in 2040, the environment in which we will be working, trying to provide care, the environment in which we will be living locally will be very different. So our Climate Adaptation Day on the 12th of February, details on the screen, is our opportunity to think backwards from that scenario and just imagine the 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we need to begin to build now into the way in which we might work for more than a decade hence. Sometimes it feels like everything is being done at short notice, doesn't it? So this is perhaps a little bit of a counter for that. Let me sneak one more C into my storyline, which is about children and health inequalities. On February the 13th, our children's care group and other partners are coming together for a big event to explore health inequalities as they apply to children and young people, to reflect on all the work we're doing with our poverty proofing, with Promise 7, with a variety of other changes that we're making on our part of the jigsaw change that is needed to tackle health inequalities for kids, that's needed to live up to our Promise 17 around school readiness. So if we're doing the climate work for the kids and the grandkids, maybe that still fits under C. I said I'd end this week's vlog by just a couple more personal reflections. You know, I am enormously aware of the scale and the pace of change that we sometimes see in our organisation. I'm not going to eulogise that or say it's absolutely necessary. Sometimes we will get the pace too slow, sometimes we will get the pace too fast. But I've talked over recent vlogs about things we can all do to address those concerns. Now, one of them, and I'm thinking here particularly of leaders, all the way from the board through our team leaders who do some of the most difficult jobs in our organisation. Sometimes we might start to do something and there's a really clear rationale, in my jargon, the why of what we are doing. But you know, sometimes as something moves through an organisation, we lose the why, we lose the reason, and we just get to the what needs to be done or when it needs to be done by. Or we use whys that aren't true. We have to do this because of the money. We have to do this because the chief executive, Toby, says so. So there's something really important about asking the question why we are doing something. Sometimes we need to ask why not, if you like. What good things can come from that? But there's something really important for me in our organisation at the moment about being able to carry a story of why, to be able to explain it, to be able to challenge it. That keeps us all safe, most importantly you and our patients, as we go through an NHS-wide period of significant change. And remember, many of those changes are experiments. They'll need adjustment as we go through. There will be times when we need to walk back, not just rush forward. And if you're unsure, if you're fed up, if you're wanting to understand, there are lots of people you can talk to, including me. I can't remember the last time somebody asked if they could sit and chat through a challenge they were facing or a difficulty or a concern where I wasn't able to accommodate my time with theirs. So please put your hand up, speak up. raise your voice as we try and build that collective conversation about why we're trying to do the things that we're trying to do and what must not be lost from RDaSH as we go about that process of improvement in the year ahead. Thanks ever so much for listening. February the 12th, February the 13th, big events coming our way in this organisation. And thank you so much for the amazing work that I described at the beginning of this film. Cheers.